Emotional arguments. Alright, that's the discussion for this day. Emotional arguments. I've always found it interesting how people like to resort to emotion in a debate. And recently on one of my posts, people were arguing over surrogate parenting, and I presented a view that was mostly against it. And 90% of the responses were purely emotional on their side. They weren't based on logic or benefit to society or anything like that. They were based on somebody wants something, somebody wants this, they love each other, it's love, 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 happy, joy, joy, joy. Now, emotions are fine. There's nothing wrong with emotions. Love's wonderful. And the great joy about an infant is, no matter where you put them, they look cute and they're wonderful. I can put them in a bunch of kittens to be loved and look, oh, sweet and wonderful. But it's highly unlikely the kittens will be able to raise that child. Emotions, in of themselves, are not a sound argument. Emotional pleas are not a sound argument. Now, you have to remember, in society, a lot of things have been done in the name of emotional good intents to protect something or whatever that has resulted in a lot of death and carnage and etc. A lot of bad things result from following purely emotional paths. One must step back and think about things, and think about how things affect other things, and what are the greater changes in society, and what we can handle. So much of our debate nowadays is based on emotion. Issue of illegal immigration. The people are for the illegal immigrants coming over. What do they say? Oh, they just they just are striving to make a better life. That's an emotional plea. That's not really a logical plea. They're good people. They're the foundations of of our economy and all this other stuff. Those are all emotional claims. You know, very seldom are they actually backed with data. You know, there might be room for them to be backed with data, but very rarely have I seen any data that happen. I can duplicate that list for pretty much any issue you want to put forward. And here's the deal. When I talk about things on this, when I talk about politics, I like to try to approach it from a factual basis, if at all possible. I try to keep the emotional elements as far out of the mix as possible. Why? Because the emotional elements, while important on an individual basis, tend to blur and create bad rules and bad government if embraced along those lines. Now, this is why in that thread, along with any other thread you'll see of mine, if somebody only puts forward emotional arguments, which also will also include insults and that sort of stuff, you know, things like, oh, you're stupid or whatnot, which don't hurt me emotionally. I just don't see a reason why I should give them a forum of posting. In other words, you put something in comment on my forum saying something that is just based on pure emotion or hate or dislike of what I said, that's not an argument, and I will not allow it to stay on my forum. I will delete it. If you, since I have control over this forum, if you want to post something counter on your forum, that's fine, knock yourself out. But I want to have reasoned, sensible discussion, and try to disconnect your emotional feelings for things. Because if I wanted to get really emotional, I could do the same thing. I'm trying to approach things from a reasonable fashion. I'm certain my emotions creep in, because I'm a human being, but it's not my focus of my arguments. And I hope they aren't the focus of your arguments either. So for that, I'd actually like to thank you for your time. And I also want you to remember, emotions do not make good judgments. Emotions are just a way of directing your logic, and your logic has to follow through. Otherwise, you don't have any footing for your judgments. Have a good day. Bye-bye, and God bless.